In today's episode, we're talking all about evaluation. Evaluation shouldn't just be the add-on at the end of a project. It's a core skill for enablers of change like ourselves. So let's explore one framework for evaluation that's been around for some time, Bennett's hierarchy. And Denise, look what I found on my bookshelf. It's an original copy of the Journal of Extension that someone, when they left the department, gave to me. And in this is the original article by Claude Bennett himself. So I'll include a scanned copy of that underneath this episode so all our viewers can easily download that.
That's so awesome, John. The original article. I've got a scanned copy and it's not a great copy. So awesome to have the actual original in your hot little hands. So yeah, very cool. And to set the scene for this, we do head back to that 1970s, to that article when Claude Bennett worked as a specialist in evaluation with the Extension Service in the US Department of Agriculture. And he wanted to make sure that Extension was collecting information that was able to illustrate the effectiveness of Extension and help Extension improve its services to clients. So he developed 7 categories of criteria for evaluating extension programs based on what he called a 7-link chain of events. He put these into a hierarchy. Literally in his article, he describes this with a diagram of 7 steps.
Yes, so let's go through each of these 7 levels. Starting at the bottom, we have level 1, and this is inputs. This is resources that are required to run extension programs, usually things like time, money, and extension personnel.
Next up is level 2, and this is the activities, the extension activities, which could be workshops, field days, or resources produced.
Then for level 3, we have participation. And this is a common element for extension programs to monitor. And we count how many people turn up to our workshops or field days and how many saw our work on Twitter or other social media. This is what people like reporting, and it's generally easy to do.
Level 4 is reactions. That is the response of the participants to the activities. It may be that they get more interested in finding out about something so that they learn how to do something. It's about the immediate response.
Next, we have level 5, and this is where it starts to get really interesting. This is the CASA level of change: knowledge, attitude, skills, and aspirational change. This is getting towards the heart of extension. We want people to be able to change, and these are the precursors to practice change, which is the next level.
Yes, level 6 is practice change. This is the nitty-gritty of extension. It's why we do what we do. This is the adoption of a new practice, technology, or skill.
And finally, we get to level 7, which is the end results. This is the big picture outcomes, the social, economic, environmental, or cultural change driven by the practice change.
So there you have the 7 levels of Bennett's hierarchy. Well, what do we do with them? Well, Claude had some pretty good tips for thinking about evaluation using that hierarchy. He pointed out that when you're thinking about evaluation of extension, the higher up the steps you can gather evidence, the stronger the evidence of impact. So the hierarchy forces you to ask questions about what level will you aim to get to? How high in the hierarchy can you gather evidence? Bennett was also a realist too, though, because he pointed out that the higher in the hierarchy you go, the greater the difficulty and cost of obtaining the evaluation data, especially hard data. So you need to know what your budget is like and what's realistic to try and gather data on.
These questions are often overlooked when it comes to evaluation. So it's good practice as an enabler of change to have the chance to work this through and decide what is possible and why when evaluating a change program. This means you can be clear about the change you can track and the amount of time and effort required.
Yeah, in fact, Claude went on to use his hierarchy as a program development tool and a program evaluation tool. Essentially, you can use the hierarchy as a way of workshopping the ultimate aims of a program and then work down the levels to figure out what is needed at each level. Then you can use the hierarchy to figure out what data you can gather to determine how well the program is going. There's a few resources that cover this process, so we'll put links to that in the episode notes.
Yes, Denise, and I've sometimes seen that illustrated as two staircases, where one starts at the top and you step your way down to the bottom, and then you step your way back up to the top. So as you plan and then implement it. So there you have it, folks. One useful framework for evaluation. There are others, but this one has been around for a while, well, since 1975, and used extensively in agriculture. We'll be looking at others down the track.
So you've heard our thoughts, now we'd like to hear yours. Add a comment below this episode and tell us your thoughts about evaluation and Bennett's hierarchy. We don't want this just to be a one-way conversation, so join in by sharing your thoughts and ideas with us.
Thanks, folks, for joining us on this Enablers of Change episode. Remember to subscribe if you'd like to hear the latest episodes when they become available. And hey, if you liked what you heard, let someone else know so they too can benefit.